day of shooting, we picked the most difficult set ever. Smoke, mirrors in every direction. Love it. Welcome to Twilight.
You're listening to Another Bite of Twilight, a podcast where we look back on our obsession with the Twilight saga and continue to freak out 10 years later.
Hey guys!
Happy Twilight Tuesday.
Welcome back.
Welcome
or
back.
welcome for the first time.
Yes.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Mel.
And this is Another Bite of Twilight.
Yes. If you're new to us, we are a Twilight podcast, still obsessing over Twilight all these years later.
They heard it in the theme song.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes we cover the books, sometimes the movies, sometimes any random topic, and we are cousins and we have fun.
Yeah, and today's episode is wicked cool. It's pretty crazy.
It's honestly the best day of my life.
And we're so pumped to share it with you guys.
Yeah, so basically, we'll give you a little backstory here, is around Christmas time, we got a message on Instagram, a message request from a guy named Preston Johnson, and he said he stumbled across our podcast and that he actually was Rob's stunt double, second unit stunt double on the first movie, and he would love to talk to us if we wanted to. The thing is, you know, sometimes we get a lot of requests, and unfortunately, like, you know, when life gets busy, I can't really go through and read everything in our DMs, and so I didn't see this message for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I saw it and freaked out and was like, oh my gosh, I have to keep...
I couldn't believe it.
I was like, this is insane. He literally worked on the movie. He was Edward Cullen's stunt double.
And we didn't answer for
We didn't answer.
Almost
A month.
I felt so bad.
So I responded and I was like, oh my gosh, we would love to talk to you. And was so excited. But at this time, Kelly was on a business trip. Like, my work got crazy. So he responded and said, like, yeah, like, let's set something up. But I saw that he said, like, okay, sounds good. And I didn't say, like, anything else. I was like, I'm going to get back to him. I didn't see that he then messaged us and said, I'm going to try to get Kristen on the show. Until a week later, Kelly and I went drinking.
Yeah.
We were on the T, or we were on the bus, which the T is like the Boston subway system.
Yeah.
And I was going through our messages, and I saw that, and I gasped and was like, oh my God, what is this? Who is this man?
I know. And like, wait, can you read the text? Like what it says in the message?
Yeah. So I said, we'll brainstorm and reach out to set something up soon. That's so insane. You're a part of such a monumental piece of history. And he said, sounds great. And then he spaced it, so I didn't see the rest of it. I'm going to reach out to Kristen and see if she would be down to come on with me. Don't get your hopes up with her getting on, but I will send her a text and see what she says.
We were like, wait, Kristen?
Yeah. A week later, I respond, and I said, even if she says no, I'd frame her response. Like,
what divas do we think we are? We didn't answer for a week.
I know. No. That's the craziest thing is this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to me, and I just let it, like, sit. I didn't do anything.
Guys, please understand that it was all accidental. And
totally accidental, yeah. I now am, like, going to go through the DMs like crazy. Not that, like, I don't already. I love you guys, and I keep messaging us because it is amazing.
I mean, you guys, like, the Renaissance as a whole is what made this even happen.
Exactly. And so then he said, of course, I just think it's really cool what you guys are doing. And then he said, I did chat with her, and there just might be something in the works. Let me know what you were thinking for a future conversation. I'll do my best to get involved. And then, okay, so after this, Kelly and I, we were drunk. We just, like, went out on a weeknight. And we were he said, don't get your hopes up. My hopes were in the clouds. Like, we were imagining this whole fantasy world where we hang out.
Like, we could fly to LA.
We could fly to LA. So he was like, tell us what you want to do. And we were like, yeah, we could do a Skype interview, or like, we're in LA all the time.
Did you actually say that?
Yeah, I said it. And you guys know that's not true. We've been to LA once. We're so presumptuous of like, Yeah, we would just drop everything, fly out there, hang out with Kristen Stewart, go to her house, party with her.
I was even coming up with, like, my story about, like, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, because I do have a friend that lives there that's, like, getting into TV production or whatever.
So you're helping her on her
I'm helping her write a
screenplay.
script, yeah.
Yeah, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're going to hang out with Kristen Stewart, we're going to smoke weed, Kelly's going to get really anxious. Like,
we even talked, I was like, oh shoot, what if I get way too anxious?
Yeah.
Because I smoke too much.
So we were freaking out, and then long story short, Kristen right now is filming a movie, and so he was like, I don't think she's going to be on the show, but she might have an audio recording to send you guys, and then he was like, I'm not sure, like, I haven't really heard from her. But right before, so we planned to interview Preston for tonight.
Yeah.
Right before, he messages us and says he has a surprise, and it's a video from Kristen talking about the interview that was about to take place.
And you can watch this video on our social media, but here's the audio of it.
Here, you can show them this. We are here on the set of Twilight. No, another movie. Have fun. I can only imagine what you guys are going to get into today. What you will get into today in your conversation about the Twilight saga. Have fun.
I'm sweating, I'm shaking, Kristen, she didn't have to do that. That's so nice.
I feel like I'm in denial or something. Like, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Guys, that's Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
For our show.
Yeah. And I almost feel like I'm acting too uncool right now.
No, you're not. I'm acting not cool enough.
Preston,
wait.
you're acting too cool.
I'm acting like Kristen.
Yeah, well, that's what you want. Like, Preston was like, oh, and when Kristen listens to this, and I was like, wait, what? Like,
I know.
If she is listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. We've totally lost our cool on this show. Don't listen to our old episodes.
Yeah, just start with this one. And
however, don't we always want to be authentic?
We do. That's the thing. Is like we talk about Kristen a lot, and like some things might be really cringeworthy to her, but our show is for our listeners, and so like, our show is for you guys. So like, we're not gonna hold back. Yeah.
But Kristen, if you are listening, and I kind of hope you are, I kind of hope you aren't. Yeah, I'm sorry that it must be weird. It just must be weird to be talked about.
And to be honest, it was kind of a huge relief that like she wasn't gonna come on the show because
we were not ready.
We weren't ready, and like when he said I have a surprise for you, I was nervous that she was.
Yeah, well, it was like half an hour before we were gonna interview him.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
Yeah.
The hell do you mean a surprise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wouldn't be able to form words. And like they always say, don't meet your heroes and stuff. And so I would have been so uncool that it would have been like something I thought about for the rest of my life.
What would we even ask her on the spot? I don't know.
How often she thinks about Twilight. That's our big question.
That's our go-to.
Like, is it like every few hours? Is it once a day? Once a week? Do you ever?
A month, yeah.
Do you ever have a day where you don't think about it? Is it like an ex? Like.
Anyway, yeah. I don't know what we would have asked her on the spot, but that is okay. It's fine to stay as a daydream, but
exactly.
Kristen, if you're listening, thank you so much for
making our night, week, month, year, life.
Yeah. Preston, if you're listening,
Preston is this, guys, so we're going to share an interview and you guys are going to fall in love with him, talking to him, but this man is just an angel who was put on this earth. He didn't have to do that whatsoever.
I know. He did not have to. And yeah, as you're listening to the interview, keep in mind that he was Rob's photo double and stunt double, so that means that he looks kind of like him. So just keep that in mind. Same build. Height.
I think, yeah. Same eyebrows.
Yeah.
I wanted to...
Preston, we're not objectifying you. I mean, yes, we are, but like, please forgive us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a wicked cool conversation with him. And we learned a lot about the set.
Yes.
Literally, an inside perspective. Like, someone that was there for 4 months with all the stars. He knows more than any of us, so...
Yeah, and, like, he was saying before, like, I know I'm not the star, like, guest, but it's... Like, I was saying to Kelly, and I say it in the interview, being a part of Twilight is literally like being a part of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
It's such a... It's like being at Gettysburg.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a monumental piece of history that will withstand for years and years and years. Yeah. Like, someday, Preston could be 100 years old, and he might be the last living person to have been a part of Twilight, besides, maybe Renesmee.
Well, let's not get cryptic here, but you just never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And people are going to freak out because it's so big.
Some of those really big things, like,
just to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said beforehand, you can ask me anything, don't hold back, like, don't be shy. So we were like, oh my God. We have some really, like, gossipy questions that we didn't know if we should ask, but I just went for it, so.
Yeah.
I'm a little embarrassed about it.
This is crazy. I feel like we didn't even freak out enough about Kristen. Like, I feel nervous that she's going to listen, so I'm like...
Yeah, well, let's freak out next episode.
She'll be busy. And
yeah.
Who can listen to a Twilight podcast?
Exactly. We're a long podcast.
Well, should we get into it?
Yeah, guys, here it is.
Here's the interview.
Enjoy. I'm so nervous. Okay, we're about to call him.
Ugh.
Whoa, I just had hardcore deja vu.
Really?
And deja vu of me
so
saying
he's
that.
on this. That we're
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
Okay. Ready?
We're gonna have this audio. Hey, Preston.
Hello. How's it going?
Thank you so much for talking with us. Welcome.
Of course.
Of
course. No, actually, I appreciate you guys reaching out, and this is it's actually I'm pretty excited about this. You know, it's been a handful of years since it's just ringing the bells again. You know, I had a great opportunity. Working on the set of the first Twilight film, and I'm just happy I can share my experience with you guys, and especially true fans like yourself. I just think it's great, and so I'm here to support you guys any way I can.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So how did you find us?
It was I think it was actually a link that was sent to me on Instagram.
Oh my God.
No. I'm just like most people. I'm on Instagram a lot, when I'm killing time or whatever, and I stumbled upon you, and I just I couldn't believe the commitment you guys had, and just the excitement you guys bring to the community, and I just love it. I had to reach out. I thought it was great. And so.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So you're on the West Coast right now.
I am. I am in Oregon. So and we can get into this further, but that's kind of how I started. I mean, that's how I was casted. We'll call it for the film, but we can get into that here shortly.
Yeah. How about first? Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
So. I'm a Portland, Oregon native. I grew up here. I've been here pretty much my whole life, just outside of, I've lived here outside of college, which I guess is still in Oregon. I went to the University of Oregon. Mm-hmm. And my family's Canadian. And I myself, I was the only one in my family who was actually born in America. My whole family, I should say my grandpa, was drafted in the NHL. He played for the Boston Bruins and the Chicago Blackhawks.
No way, we're from Boston.
You are? No kidding.
Cool.
So my grandpa was drafted and pretty much uprooted our family and went and actually moved to Boston and started his career.
What's his name?
His name's Norm Johnson.
All right.
Cool.
I don't follow hockey.
Yeah, so he played in the early 60s, late 50s, early 60s. So this is back, if you know anything about hockey, this is back when guys were running around with no helmets on, and
Oh, God.
there's a lot more fights and dirty hits and stuff like that, and I guess what we're used to seeing these days. But my grandpa, he joined a Western hockey league called the Portland Buckaroos after his NHL career, and he played, I think it was about 15 years professional here in Portland, and retired here and built a family here, and that's kind of where I came into play. And so I play hockey. That's one of my biggest passions outside of I like to fly fish and play ice hockey. That's two things I really enjoy, and I've just been doing it my whole life. It's been great.
That's so cool. We've always wanted to go to Portland. We think we might go maybe this summer.
September.
You should. Definitely this summer, spring or summer. I don't know about right now. It's been raining for the last 3 weeks straight. That's
a Twilight experience.
That's right.
Yeah, I've never been to Oregon, actually. Neither has Mel.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but I really, really want to. We went to Washington last year, though.
Oh, you did? Cool. So the Washington State, then? That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Twilight reasons.
Of course.
Twilight reasons.
Well, there's a lot of like kind of truths and non-truths about the Twilight, and I don't want to burst your bubble or anything, but a lot of the first film was actually filmed in Oregon.
Yeah.
And just right on the border of there is some shots that were filmed in Washington, but just right on the border between Oregon and Washington. So a lot of people kind of think of like Forks, Washington, for example. I don't believe that there actually was any true filming in Forks. I think a lot of the signs and everything was actually brought into Oregon, different shots in Oregon.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think they actually shot anything in Forks, which, whatever.
No, what they may have. I don't want to like hold it.
No, I mean, like, we went there and you're right. Like, I think they recreated the sign and they recreated the high school sign and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they shot everything not in Forks for whatever.
Yeah, but gosh, if you've been to Forks, how beautiful. Talk about one of the most beautiful places, in the state. That's...
Have you been there?
Go ahead.
Have you been there before?
I have. Coming from I'm a fly fisher, and there's beautiful rivers up throughout there, and gosh darn, it's just, I can go on and on about this, but no, it truly is breathtaking, that area, and I can see why the book was written for that town, so it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, this has nothing to do with, and I wasn't expecting to ask this, nothing to do with Twilight, but what would you say is the difference between Oregon and Washington? People-wise, or just in general?
Good question.
That's a tough question.
The
first thing that comes to my mind is the coast. I feel like Oregon has a better coastline. When I think of like going to the beach, I think of like running around the sand and the surf.
Yeah.
And you don't really get, don't get me wrong, there still is a handful of places that you can find good beaches, but Oregon takes the cake on that. That's one thing that just pops in my head.
That's cool.
Other than that, the weather's very similar. It's Pacific Northwest. It's just, rainy, cold half the year, and then just beautiful. It's like almost like a turn of a switch. It's just the flowers start coming out, and it's just it's unbelievable scenery. So if you were to come, I would say come in the spring or summer, and I think you guys would have a good time.
Yeah.
Cool.
So living in Oregon, that's how you got involved in the first Twilight.
That's right. In fact, if you want me to jump right into it, I can kind of tell you walk you through kind of how it was.
Yeah.
So I should start by saying by the way, this is 11 years ago. So when this was filmed, so this was a while ago, and keep in mind that I only worked on the first film, and I as much as I'd love to work on the other films, there was different directors, there was pretty much a different cast for each film. Not like, obviously not the main cast, but like all the background and everything else. But in high school, it's actually kind of a funny story. I got a call from my mom. She was saying, "Oh, Preston, I heard there's all these auditions for there's a a director called Gus Van Sant. Maybe you've heard of him, like Good Will Hunting. I'm sure you've heard that of that movie. He directed a lot of different movies, and one of them was called Paranoid Park, and they're doing auditions for that movie. And I was like a young, high school kid. I was like, this is gonna be easy. I'd love to. Let's just see what happens. So I walked into this big auditorium. I couldn't believe it. There was hundreds of people there. And I felt like I was kind of like a rebel at that time, and I was a skateboarder kid, and it was a pretty quick audition, and they just took some pictures. I said a few things, and gosh, I think it was no more than I think it was the next day. It was in the morning. I remember that, and they called me and they said, "We want you to come in for an interview." And I said, "Oh, okay. Like, is this serious?" I wasn't sure, and kind of long story short, they ended up casting. Well, actually, I should say they wanted me originally for one of the lead characters in the film. And again, long story short, they never ended up casting me for that main character, but they did ask if I wanted to be the stunt double for the kid. I can't remember the guy's name. I wish I could remember. And I said yes, that would be great. And
did you have any stunt experience at all?
So that was a part of the interview process. I explained, I as a skateboarder, that's what I enjoy doing, and the film was like highly motivated around skateboarding, and I explained, I've been doing this for a handful of years. I feel very comfortable, and so they put me in a role as the stunt double, we'll call it. Even it was a kind of a low budget film, and so they didn't necessarily have to hire like a stunt double from LA, which they're doing now. A lot of featured films. And so I did that, and it was great. And with that experience, I started getting connected within the film world, and I did a lot of different things after that. I did a lot of commercials and different roles, and I was like, this is great. I can see myself doing something like this. And so the more I got involved, the more I learned about the industry and also the struggles with the industry as well. It's not, it's not like you right away you have a job back to back. You have to audition. You have to go through all kinds of different tasks to make it any sort of scene, or just to be picked for anything for that matter. And so after a handful of different stints and different movies I worked in, I was just getting ready to go enter into college, and I got a phone call from we'll call it my agent, and I feel weird saying that, an agent. I'm not.
Call my agent.
I did. I had a person that represented myself and a handful of people, and the guy called, and he said his name was Tony, and he called and he says, Preston, there's this featured film coming into Portland. It's called Twilight, and we want to see if you look like one of the main characters in the role. We want you to audition. Ooh. And I explained to him, hey, I'm like, this is a big move for me because I'm getting ready to go to college. I just got out of my dorm, and this is a big deal. So, and this would have been my first year. But I went down. So keep in mind, University of Oregon's in Eugene, which is about a 2-hour drive from Portland, where most of the filming was for Twilight was happening. So I made the trek, maybe 5 or 6 times, just multiple auditions where they kept winding people down. I think at first they had 20 plus people there standing there, and they would just pull people aside, and and it just got smaller and smaller, and eventually myself and another kid, I think his name was, in fact, I was looking it up before, his name was Sean. Myself and Sean were picked to be originally for a photo double, and I don't know if you know what a photo double is.
No, we don't. We were gonna ask you that, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so I was hired to be Edward's photo double. Essentially, what that is I have a fairly similar build. Like, we have a very similar height and kind of just our overall sizing, we'll call it. And I don't know if we really look too much alike. When you put the makeup on and everything, it's like it's striking, like, on how well the makeup artist can make you look the same. I'm sure your viewers are going to be looking at me like, who's this weirdo? He doesn't look like Robert.
No.
But I promise, when the makeup went on, it was kind of weird. Like, it was almost like looking at him in a mirror, and even Robert and I was weirded out by it. But a photo double is somebody who, when they're setting up the scene, when they're setting up the lighting, the angles, where the actors are walking, they don't want to waste the actor's time by setting everything up, so they'll put a photo double in place, and they'll essentially act out the scene. They don't necessarily need to do the lines or anything. It's mainly just to get lighting and everything dialed in, so when it's time to actually hit record, they're ready to go. And so that was originally what I was casted for, and I should just be transparent about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want that job.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
So wait, why do they not want to have the actors do it? Is like, would it cost more money or something, or they're just too busy, or like, why is that?
I don't know if it's more money. I think it's just there's a lot on the actors' plate already. I mean, they're doing full days. I mean, don't get me wrong. We were all working full days, but the least amount of time the actors need to come out and just drag a set on or a scene on, I think the better for them. I mean, they have to learn their lines. They have to kind of get in their mental space to, create the scene. And so they're in the tent while it's pouring down rain, and when I'm outside and, getting all the lighting and all that stuff dialed in.
So you would be like in the outfits, like I
would be in the outfits, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So then how did they end up casting you as a stunt double instead?
So you should know that as the film, I think I worked on it it was about 4 months. Mm-hmm. And, I kind of want to go back a little bit to when they gave me the job, and I had to break the news to my parents. I said, guys, like, there's this featured film coming into town called Twilight. And none of us had any idea what it was. I had no idea what Twilight was. I didn't read the books at the time. I've read them now, but I had no idea. So here I am, some kid getting ready to go to college, and my parents were not happy with me. No. They were very upset when I made this decision. And here I am, I had this dorm and everything, and I had to drop out of my classes pretty much for the first half of the year. And so it was, parents were not happy about it. Mm-hmm. But if we want to go into that, I'm happy to go in further. But so I worked on set, and it was about a little over 4 month period. And throughout the time working, every now and then they had to break off to separate units. And there was a stunt double. His name was Paul. In fact, I can't remember his last name, but his name is Paul. I'll have to look it up. But he was the actual hired stunt double as Robert Pattinson's double, we'll call it. But there might be a day or two or more. I mean, it happened quite often, actually, where they would break up filming groups. They would have a first and second unit, and sometimes they would need a stunt double for the second unit. And so Paul couldn't be at two places at once. So over time, they said, this guy Preston, we like him, and he seems to know what he's doing. At least I hope they think that. But they eventually transitioned me into a second unit stunt double. And I did a lot of different things. The only thing I could not do, or I wasn't certified to do, was anything that involved like wire working. So what I mean by that is like the vests with wires coming off. I didn't have any certifications for that. So that's when they wouldn't need Paul for that. But anything like, any driving scenes, I jumped off a lot of different sets. It was great. Cool. Trying to remember a good one. But it was a lot of interaction. It was fun. It was just, sometimes I look back and I remember thinking to myself, like, gosh, I was having so much fun. I would have did the job for free. That's how much fun I had on set. It was so much fun.
So many questions.
Yeah, you
No. I'm just excited. You guys are happy. I'm excited for you, and I'm here to, say, answer questions. And
well, I have to say, you definitely made the right decision. I mean, Go to college anytime you want.
Yeah, that's such a cool experience. You did the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but being a part of Twilight, I was saying earlier, that's like being a part of the Wizard of Oz. Like, that's such an iconic piece of history. It really is, and you were a part of that.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I feel very honored about it. You know, when I was when the film had just come out, I wasn't sure how my friends would react to it, and so I try to keep things kind of on the down low a little bit, just because I didn't know know what to expect, and
it turned out huge.
Yeah, and I didn't want to be that guy who was like going around bragging or anything. I just felt so humbled and honored that they would pick me. You know, just some goofy kid from Oregon. They picked me to do all this, and I thought it was great.
Well, so you mentioned the driving. We actually recently watched the commentary for the DVD commentary with Rob and Kristen and Catherine Hardwicke, and they mentioned this part in the Port Angeles scene when Edward drives up and then he gets
out of the car and he like growls, kinda. And they tell the story of how the stand-in did it when Rob wasn't there, and he did it so amazingly, and everyone was so impressed by that. Was that you?
So there was a couple scenes, and I think I know what you're talking about. Do you happen to remember if it was on a radio when that scene was being recorded? Like, was it coming out of a two-way radio? Do you happen to know? Because if it was, I can go ahead.
Do you mean them recording it on a radio, or?
Well, okay, so there's one time that I can think of where they had me driving the Volvo. And we were going through. This is during the baseball scene. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But there was some side roads where the baseball scene was. That so driving into the baseball scene, I was the one driving, and I was on a two-way radio, and in the background, they were yelling at me, and so they're like, go faster, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm like on this little itty bitty windy gravel road, zipping around this car, and I was like, if I go any faster, there's a chance I can, fall off this little.
That's so scary.
And so here I am yelling back, and I'm wondering if we're talking about the same thing. I could be wrong.
No, the part is
It's nighttime.
It's nighttime, and there's these frat guys who are, like, threatening Bella, and then Edward gets out of his car and, like, gives them this scary look, and they all back off. But they say that the stand-in did it when he wasn't there, like, recreated it, and that everyone was so impressed and said that he did it better than Rob did.
I love it.
Apparently, one of you guys.
I'm pretty sure I know where that scene was. I don't know why. I'm having a hard time remembering that exact scene. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I was kind of a goofy guy anyway, so I really try to put my heart and soul into every shot, even though I knew that most of it would be edited out, or the shots that I am in, it's like you would have no idea unless I pause the movie and be like, that's actually me.
What scenes do you know? Do you recall, like, or when you watch it, are you like, that's me? Like, what scene?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's exactly right. I'd have to sit with you and, like, pause the film. But I was in, like, kind of even going back to the baseball scene. I was in a good majority of that.
Oh, my gosh. That's cool.
Iconic.
Yeah. A lot of, like, crane shots. So, like, when they had the camera way up in the air and, like, maybe they're running around the bases or something. Like, that likely wasn't actually Robert. It was probably me running around the bases or running on the, the outfield. Any sort of, like, or in the car, almost every car or driving scene because they weren't allowed to drive. There's always a risk of them getting injured.
Yeah.
And if somebody gets injured, especially a main lead actor, then all of a sudden the film is shut down until they're, healed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I pretty much drove in most of the driving scenes. So anytime you watch the film and you're seeing any driving scenes, that's likely it's me.
Wow.
But there was more. There was a lot of different different stuff, like the I'm trying to remember the ballerina set. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, ballet studio. Yeah.
The ballet ballerina. Yeah, the ballet. Yeah, there was a lot of like different things that I had to work on with that, and actually there was a week period where so James his stunt double actually got injured, and they had to take him out in a ambulance. I'll never forget that. It was actually kind of towards the beginning of the film.
Oh no!
And forgive me that I can't remember James's stunt double's name. But
it's okay.
I remember they needed me. They were like, we don't have anybody. We need somebody to play James.
Oh no!
So take a look at those pictures I sent.
Wait, that was you?
That was me.
What? Oh my gosh!
I know, and I wasn't auditioned. I wasn't casted to be this guy. I didn't, I wasn't prepared to do this. And it was one day I showed up. The stunt double for James got rushed away in an ambulance, and they needed me to fill in. So I had to put. I'm kind of at the time I was kind of a scrawnier kid, I would call it. And so I had to fit in these clothes, and they're a little too big on me. And they put the wig on, and it was like, they made it look good.
Yeah, I had no idea.
That's cool. I mean, it's really unfortunate that he got hurt, but it's really funny that you ended up playing James.
Yeah. It was funny.
I know, because
it was great,
shirtless,
though.
Right? Is he like shirtless in that scene?
I think he has a jacket.
A jacket.
He was shirtless a lot, but in that particular scene, no. Thank God.
Okay.
Thank God I didn't have to do that. But that's, to be honest with you, that was one of the most real tastes of, how should I say it? I'm trying to look for a word, but essentially it's, I was put into this scene where it was a very high intensity, I'm trying to remember. It was when Edward was essentially choking James. They were kind of battling, and so I had to be James for this scene. So the stunt double for Edward, his name was Paul, was standing there filming me, and he was like legitimately like grabbing on, choking me, and like holding on to me. And I'm like, this is like a real thing. This is not like faking or anything. Like he's actually like going at it, and they're trying to get this shot. And so that's one of the scenes I can kind of like, there's like a half a second to maybe a second of like where they pan, and that's actually me. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to
watch it now.
Yeah, me too.
Whoa.
Was there ever a time when you were nervous to do something?
Not really, but I would say there was more times that I was frustrated that I didn't get to do something.
Yeah.
It's just because what I mean by that is, gosh, there was a shoot that, in the scene, Edward had to jump off a boulder, and in the movie, they don't really make it look very, very big, I should say. I mean, it's a very quick scene in the movie, but essentially Edward jumps off this boulder. But when you look at it in real life, this shot was actually quite a large of a drop. And what they did was the stunt coordinators and everybody who kind of worked on in the scene, I mean, they made this shot. You couldn't get hurt. It was about a 15-foot jump off this boulder they probably put about 100 cardboard boxes and padding for the landing. I mean, you could have fallen straight on your head on this and you would have been fine. And they actually brought, for that particular scene, they brought in some guy from LA, and I was frustrated. I was like, I wanted to do this shot, and they spent all this money, and I mean, I get it. Like,
cool.
Yeah, and so that was one thing that I wish I would have. I was slightly frustrated on that because, right in that time I was doing stunts, and I'm not sure why they decided to bring in a guy for this particular scene, but I get it. That's show business and stuff that I'll never quite understand.
I know what scene you're talking about. It's a cool shot. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But was I nervous? Yeah, I would say the first week, just you're learning everybody. You don't know who anybody is.
Yeah.
I was very nervous, and here I am around these actors who are now just so famous, and at the time, no one really knew who they were, and so I feel like I'm a pretty friendly guy and outgoing, and it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for me to just walk up and say, hey, how's it going, or just kind of like try to just put some chat in. And at the beginning stages, it was quite nervous, just trying to get the feel for things and get everyone's vibes, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, speaking of, so it sounds like you're still friends with Kristen.
Yeah.
So what was she like back then, and what's she like now?
So I should say, Kristen and I do chat here and there. She has her own life. She lives in LA. I'm still in Oregon. It's I don't know if you can really say that we're like talking every day type friends. Yeah. But we do chat from time to time. I really got to know her on set, and I do have a couple of stories that I'm sure Kristen will just think it's weird that I'm saying, but I'm going to say it. Kind of going back to the nervous question, I think it was the first week we're shooting. We're all sitting at when these featured films, everything's catered, everything's laid out, everything's handed to you. You just feel like I don't know. I mean, you just feel so special working on a set like this. So here I am. I'm in the lunch tent, and everything's being, all the food, anything you want to eat or drink. I'm sitting there, and Kristen's sitting right across from me, and I look up, and I think this is like the first or second time I've seen her. This is like the first week, maybe second week of shooting, and everyone's quiet. I don't know why everybody's so quiet, and I was just like, I wanted to break the ice a little bit, like I wanted to say something, so I just kind of look up, and I'm like, hey, Kristen, how's it going? Like, how's shooting going? And I think she was, I'm sure she had a lot on her plate, and she kind of just looks up and says, I'm busy right now, and like, we'll. Oh my God. And I felt I was like, oh my God, like, what did I just do? I hope I didn't like. I hope she doesn't hate me. Like, I feel bad, And anyway, she kind of, I don't know. I don't want to like paint her to be a bad. She ended up being the nicest, sweetest girl. And I should say, we actually, over anybody that I hung out with or I guess mingled with, I would say she was the person that I felt the most comfortable with. Even though, Robert and I, we hung out a little bit, but I felt like Kristen and I were the ones that hung out, or I guess interacted the most. And it was pretty interesting. After that little incident at the lunch, I was like, oh my God, this girl, she hates me. Like, she doesn't want to talk to me. And I was like, I was so scared that like this is going to be the situation for the rest of the shoot. But I think it was the very next day she came up to me and was, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it really like made my day. Like, here's this girl, I think she like that maybe I felt like, lost or something. And she really said, she asked for my number, and I could not believe it. I was like, here's this girl, she wants to talk to me. And I'll never forget, like, you got to keep in mind, this is 11, 12 years ago, and I didn't have a phone. I'm having to jump back to my parents' house because my dorm room's in college. Yeah. So I remember, like, after working on Twilight, just after a day of work, I would go home, and I remember like calling, or like Kristen would call me, and you know how like moms would pick up their
oh my God, she called you on your landline?
Yeah, so she would call me on the landline, and I remember I would go into the garage, and I would talk to her, and I can't remember, we just probably, it's just short conversations, but I remember my mom would get on like listening, like, Mom, like, come get off the phone.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
But I'm telling you, she was so nice and so sweet, and I have nothing but positive things to say about her. And she really made my experience working on the set, like, just fantastic. So if she's listening to this, I think she is, but
No way.
You think she'll listen to this?
I think she will.
Oh my God. Hi, Kristen.
We're not as weird as we come off.
Yeah.
Please believe that.
So she knows we exist. That's
she
crazy.
knows you exist.
Tell us about that.
I should tell your fan base that before our interview here tonight, I reached out to her and told her about kind of what I was doing, and she was very excited about it. And maybe your followers might get a little taste of a potential, something, a little clip from her or something. But she does know about you. She loves it, and she appreciates, all the love. And if it wasn't for you guys, none of us would be here. So you gotta think about that.
What the heck?
Crazy. I mean, we've just been obsessed with her since we were 12 years old. So,
well, it's weird because we made this show just because we would always talk about Twilight over the years. We always had still things to say.
So much to say.
For whatever reason. Yeah. And we were like, we could make a podcast about this.
Yeah.
But we thought only like 5 people would listen, like including our moms. So like we didn't know anyone would listen, let alone like Kristen Stewart would know it exists, So that's just weird.
Well, hey, congratulations. Hey, you deserve it. That's great. You really built a great following, and I think that's congratulations. You should be happy about yourself.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Thank you. Oh my gosh!
What the heck?
And you didn't even have to do that to reach out to her. That is so nice of you.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy. I just love it. I just love seeing people excited about it, and it makes me excited. So I feel like I'm kind of back on set again, or just kind of like reliving, some cool memories I had, and I had a great time. And I want other people to hear my story, and even though I'm just kind of just a guy in the background, I still had a great time, and I met a lot of people.
It's funny.
Sorry.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that story with Kristen at the lunch table, because in preparation for this, I was just doing some research, and I found an old... We Googled you. And I found an old interview with you on a Twilight vlog, and I didn't know if it was real, but you told that exact same story.
Yes.
In the interview.
It is real. And right as Twilight came out, a lady from there's a newspaper called Willamette Weekly, and she asked if she can interview me, and I couldn't believe like the questions she asked me. She really she tried to get me to like say things that like I don't know, like how
I feel like she cut out your story. Is that true? Like it didn't.
I don't know. I mean, it's been a while, but I remember when that came out, like the day it came out, I saw it and I read it and I called her and I said, you need to take this down. Like, this is not right. This is not cool. Like, you got to take this down. And she's like, I'm sorry. It's already been. And oh my God, I remember like anybody, like, I'd be lying if I said I didn't read comments and I'm curious about what other people think. And I could not believe the amount of like hate people gave. And I just couldn't believe it. And it would really like, it was tough to stomach, but I'm making it sound like it was a terrible.
Well, the way the woman asked the question, she said like, "Is Kristen Stewart as big of a bitch as she seems?" Like,
I couldn't believe that. And keep in mind, I was kind of she said that, and how do you answer a question like that? It's like, no, she's not. She's like a typical reporter wants to try to dig up dirt, and I should have been more prepared for that, and I wasn't. And I should have. Hindsight, I should have planned a little better or something. Yeah. But no, she's not. She's absolutely not a bitch. She's a genuine, great gal, and I'm sure it's. I mean, you could just look what she's done. She speaks for herself. So.
I mean, everything we've heard about Kristen, everyone says she's so nice. Like.
Oh my God. So. She is, yeah. She really is. I mean, just from my experience, and again, I've only, it was a 4-month experience, actually slightly over, but she really made my experience great. And while other people maybe I didn't connect as much with, Kristen, I felt like I did, and it was a fantastic opportunity. And it's crazy that, you know, even after this long, we're still kind of chatting. You know, who knows? Maybe down the road, and maybe I'll see her at one of these days. And it's been a while, but you know, it's just cool that we're still chatting.
Yeah. Well, it seems like she's still very proud of Twilight too, where I feel like a lot of stars would maybe try to shed that and like be ashamed of it, maybe to have a new image, but she still like proudly totes it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too, and that's one thing I can really like be happy with her about. I mean, this is, you know, this is the start of her career, and like, and I agree. She's been so supportive of you know fans like such as yourself, and anyone could just turn a blind eye and just put it in the past, but she hasn't, and I think that's so great. You know, good for her.
A sweetie.
Well, so moving on a bit, we have always asked people. I should start by saying we went to a Twilight festival in Forks this past year, and we met a lot of people there who have done press or who have met the actors. So we kind of like tried to ask people, you know, like, what was this person like? What was that person like? And we heard nothing but good things about Kristen.
Oh, okay.
But we couldn't really.
I didn't know what you were asking. I was like, what is she gonna ask?
We couldn't gauge what anybody thought of Robert Pattinson at all. Like, no one really had an answer for us.
So, and by the way, if you ever want to say anything off the record, just say.
Oh yeah, tell us if you want us to cut anything out.
No, I'm go ahead and keep it all. But yeah, I mean, I can see why people would come across and saying that he was a shy person. I felt like he was very just to himself a lot. You know, there were times that we were connecting more, and other times it felt like he was just kind of in between shoots. He would just go off and kind of do his own thing. He played the guitar. He's a very musically gifted person, you know, whether that be the piano, the guitar. I mean, the guy can sing like you wouldn't believe, you know. I don't know if you've ever heard some of his songs, but you know, that's I can see why people would say that. But overall, just a great guy. He really was, and he wasn't like somebody who's going to brag about anything. He's very just kind of humble and I mean, just a genuinely great guy. I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words right now, but
yeah.
So he's just kind of like introverted, would you say? Or just like needs his time alone?
I would say yes. I would say, and I hate to speak for him.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to really get to know somebody in a short period of time like that. But from the times that I hung with him, it seemed like it. But gosh, the times that he opened up a little bit to me, you would almost like think otherwise. So gosh, I hate to paint him as an introvert.
Well, it sounds like myself.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was getting out of like the shuttle van that they would drive you to different scenes, and I had these like old school like sunglasses, like these they're like plastic sunglasses with like a pink what do they call it, band?
Yeah.
Or frame, and it was just like, you know, kind of like the cool like skater boy kind of cool thing. And I remember him being like, "Oh, those are so awesome!" Like, I'm like, "You like these?" And I remember like they were like $1 sunglasses, and I happen to have a few of them. I don't know why, but I went and gave them to him.
Oh my god!
I might have them. You can have them. And, you know, because I was like, this guy thinks his glasses are cool. Like, that's awesome. Like, someone thinks that what I'm wearing is cool. I'm like, you know, it's nice when someone says that, whether it's an actor or anybody, just someone on the street. It's pretty cool. But anyway, I gave them to him, and I remember like for a month I would see him. He'd be walking around with these glasses on. Those are my glasses.
Oh my god!
I wonder if he still owns them.
I doubt it. Probably. I mean, that'd be hilarious.
He still wears them every day.
No, I mean, he'd be funny. I mean, you know, Yeah, but it was cool. You know, he's a great guy, and we did get along. And there was a handful of times, like after like shooting, that we would hang out a little bit, and I got to know him a little bit more. You know, he lived pretty close, or where he was staying was pretty close to where I was staying, relatively. I think it was like, 8-10 minutes away. So some of the staff and production, we would all get together and go have a couple beers, or, you know, Robert would bring his guitar along and do his thing, and just, you know, keep in mind, these guys are not a lot of people really knew them at the time.
Yeah.
You know, I think Robert did something with was it Harry Potter before Twilight, so I could see where maybe he might want to be a little bit more low key, but still, you know, these are people who didn't really have a lot of I don't know, credibility in the filming world. Maybe I shouldn't say it. I hope your listeners don't. They're gonna, you know, question that statement there. But I'm sure they had a lot more things before Twilight.
Yeah, it was very like indie almost at the time. Like they weren't super well known, so it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Rob was in Harry Potter, but that was just one movie. Sadly, his character died. So yeah, like
yeah.
Get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but you were like college age then. So did it kind of feel like being in college, like being around all these other young people?
It was, you know, I was kind of questioning how much do I want to get into the fun of Twilight, you know.
Do, please.
We had a great time. I mean, here I am, you know, I'm trying to remember my age. I think it was like 18 or 19, and
wow.
Gosh, how old was I? It was probably right around there. And you know, I don't know if I know that we had drinks from time to time, and I don't know if we were legal to do that. But we had a great time, and we, don't get me wrong, we partied a little bit. And not, you know, we, in terms of like having a couple of beers. That's and I don't know if you remember in the first Twilight where any of the beach scenes. The ocean scenes where they're running around with like the seaweed and stuff.
Yeah.
But I had like it just so happened that at that scene, my parents had a beach house down the street from where we shot that.
No way.
And we had like a huge gathering at the beach house, and we were partying, and everybody had a great time. And you know, sometimes people would show up to set maybe a little hungover.
That's so cool.
And so it was fun.
I was just saying to Mel, because I just went on a work trip. I mean, this isn't even a movie, it's like just work, but it was in New York for like 3 nights, and my coworkers and I were up till like 5 a.m. every night drinking and stuff, and I was like, they must have partied while shooting this. Like, there's no way you wouldn't. Like,
yeah. No, we had a good time. We had a really good time. And you know, that's how sometimes relationships are formed too. Just kind of just being silly and funny with each other, and you know, just being open. And
so true.
But it was a unbelievable experience, and I'm just happy that we're able to talk about this. It's kind of like awakening my brain a little bit and just remembering some of this stuff. It was really a fortunate opportunity I had.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
sharing stories. Your story will live forever in our podcast.
I'm happy. That's great.
Our listeners are gonna go crazy about this.
No, that's awesome.
I think they will.
You know, one thing I have a little beef to I'm gonna say it online or on the air right now, and one thing I'm a little upset about is I worked at Twilight almost the entire shoot, or the entire, you know, film, and like it was like the last week of the shoot, I think there was like something that was like maybe it was one day of the whole process that I didn't make it, and that's when they took like names and like roll call, if you want to call it that, and they didn't get, I wasn't there for that day, so I didn't get my name on the sheet. So if you're to look at IMDb, my name's not on the sheet.
No!
Like, I remember like when I was in the theater, like watching the credits go down, and I'm like, oh, come on, it's any second now. My name never came up, and that's, oh my God. Like, I was so bummed out about that, but...
Could you contact someone about them inserting that?
You know, I bet you could, yeah. I would say you probably could. I haven't done it, but you probably could.
Yeah, well, you still could.
That's so upsetting.
I know. But, yeah.
Why would you even need to be there? Like, shouldn't they have a list of who's working for them or something?
I know.
Yeah, I know. You'd think. But, whatever.
That's so disappointing.
But what's crazy is, like, a lot of people that they hired are from Oregon, and a lot of those people I'm still friends with to this day, and I hang out with very often, like crazy. Like,
That's
if you
cool.
look on IMDb, like, for example, like the whole baseball scene, they had to bring in a professional baseball player, this guy named Bill Rao. This guy, him and I are great friends. Him and I go fly fishing all the time. This guy is a great guy, and I cannot believe the friendships I've made just after this one film.
So cool.
So, yeah, it was really special. And that's also I should have mentioned this earlier, but Kristen had a photo double as well. She had a stunt double and a photo double. Kristen's photo double was Catherine Duber, and hey, her and I are great friends too. And I just it's really amazing what a film like this, or just an opportunity like this, can do. Just the friendships you can make working on something like that. And so props to Catherine and Bill. Everybody else.
So we're also obsessed with Catherine. She's actually in our intro for
different Catherine.
Oh yeah.
The director, Catherine.
Catherine Hardwick.
Hardwick.
We're obsessed with her. What was it like? Did you work with her at all?
Oh yeah, I'm almost daily. Yeah, she was a very kind of a hyper lady. Just very excited. Puts it all on the table. Like, emotional is not the right word, but she was very like, how do I say it? She's, when the scene is right, she will let you know. She's a very loud, vocal lady, and but in a good way. I'm making it sound like she might be like some crazy like screaming woman.
No, she sounds invested.
She's very invested. Very lovely lady to work with, and I don't think I think Catherine really, if it wasn't for her, I think who knows what the Twilight series would have been. But I think she really made the start of the series, and so props to her. Like, she really did a good job, and just a great lady to work with. I don't know, kind of going back to that scene where they had to fly in the stunt double from LA for that one scene to jump off a rock. I really got into it with Catherine about that. Like, her and I, like, we had like a talk. I'm like, why are you hiring this person? Like, her and I got into it a little bit, and she's like, we have to. And I'm like, well, I can do it. Like, like we're arguing. Here I am arguing with the director. Like, that's probably the last thing I should be doing. She could have just been like, leave. I'm happy she didn't, but I guess with that said, any person that you can feel comfortable talking with. So, and I feel like you need that in a director, someone who can kind of paint the picture for the actors, and someone who is vocal and say, this is what this shot needs to look like. You need to, kind of act like this. And she really does a good job, painting that picture. So.
Yeah, I mean, we love the other movies too, but that first movie,
the best.
It had such a lasting impact on us. Like, I honestly think we were obsessed with the books, but that movie is like what did it for us. Like, it has such a cohesive feel throughout that, like, even in our lives, like, it could be a rainy day or whatever. Like, we sometimes just feel like we are living in that movie, if that makes any sense at all. Like,
no, I absolutely love it. That's great. That's another reason why I feel I'm happy to talk to you guys. I just think that's so cool.
You guys all did a great job.
Yeah. You, Kristen, if you're listening. Catherine.
Yeah.
Rob. Jessica. Anna Kendrick. But after Twilight got big, it also got like a lot of hate. And it kind of became a bit of a joke after several years. Did you ever feel embarrassed to say that you were involved in it? Not that you should be.
Well, when you say that, my memory just wants to say I was nervous to bring it up. Here I am. I'm a hockey player, and I didn't want it. Like, I felt like I would have been made fun of a little bit amongst my male teammates.
Yeah.
That was, for me, that was my nervousness, getting around that. But, when I look back, no one was ever, I never felt like embarrassed or anything. I think it was a mental thing. And it never ended up actually being an awkward situation. In fact, it was really cool. A lot of my friends really loved it. In fact, they would make we would be at like a bar or something and be like, hey, this is like Robert's, stand in, and I'd be a little embarrassed about it, but it was funny, and it was great, but in terms of your comments about the other movies, I don't think I ever felt like, it was a joke or the other, I don't know if that was your right words, but I never got that sense, at least where I, living here, that the other movies were any different, although obviously working on the first one, that's the one that I like the most.
Yeah. Oh no, we love the other movies too. It just got to a point where it was so big that once it was so mainstream, all of a sudden people turn on it, and especially given the audience of teenage girls and stupid vampires.
I feel like, everybody's going to have their comments no matter what you do. You try to do the nicest thing, and people are going to always say something. It's easy for people to sit behind a computer and say what they want. But I personally loved all the films, and I had a lot, invested in, and I just, I just kept, me personally, I really enjoyed them. So no, yeah.
Well, you're not alone. A lot of people, even a lot of guys we know, still love it. So.
Yeah, we have actually a surprisingly good amount of guy listeners who reach out and say they are coming out of the Twilight closet.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
True.
We have so many other questions.
No, we have a million questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
One.
I feel like I have gossipy questions.
Yeah, well, hopefully I can answer them. But yeah, go ahead.
I feel bad asking them. If you don't want to answer them, or if you want to answer them off the record, you can tell us.
Yeah, and I always edit things out anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I'll edit anything out yet, but
So in that same interview that you gave, the interviewer was asking about Rob and Kristen, did they have chemistry? And you said no in the interview.
Oh, this is a tough question. This might be the hardest question of the night.
You probably get asked it all the time.
There's not a right answer for this question.
And so, we just wanted to follow up on that. Still stand by it.
Well, I think that anybody who is a true diehard Twilighter should probably cover their ears for this answer. At least from where I'm sitting. And should I continue on? I don't know. I'm kind of worried.
Keep going.
No, I hope your followers don't hate me.
Wait,
I didn't personally, from my perspective, and keep in mind, this is just from what I'm seeing. I'm not with them every night. I don't know there's so many nights that I wasn't with them, so a lot can be different. This is just from me and from my experience. I did not personally see chemistry at the time. And I'm not like a love guru or anything, so I don't know if I have the right to say this, but I feel like when people are vibing, you can kind of see it. And I just did not see it at that time. And keep in mind, this is the first, they've been working together for 4 months, and maybe a little bit prior, because they had to do table readings and what mind you. So they probably knew each other for 5-6 months, and I do know that later on in the in the films, yes, there was chemistry. So your fan base can appreciate that. But at least in the first film, I didn't see it.
Have a boyfriend?
It's possible. I don't.
Yeah, wasn't she dating Michael Angarano? Does that ring a bell?
It doesn't. Because now I'm gonna feel bad because I felt like I felt like I was vibing with Kristen. That's what I felt like. Seriously. If Kristen actually listens to this, she's gonna be either embarrassed or I don't know what she's gonna think. I don't know, but
don't judge us.
I felt like we actually had a connection a little bit. At least maybe in my head.
Yeah, that's what curious. Did you have a crush on Kristen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, that's really cute.
She's so cool.
I know, I do.
I know. I mean, I did. Yeah, but I'm still thinking about your other question. People ask me this, and people get really bummed out when I say that I didn't see anything. But
that is so.
Yeah, I'm just being truthful. I did not see.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want the truth. It's weird. It's very odd because like Catherine Hardwicke will say in interviews and stuff that like Rob was interested, and she was like, "Oh, Rob, she's only how old is she? 17?
7. Yeah.
Like, Rob, you're too old for her. Blah blah. Like, so what's all that? Like, I don't know where that came from.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about. I don't know. It could have just been for entertainment value. I really don't know. Yeah. And also, I feel bad to say, here I am saying this is just coming from my point of view. I hate speaking for people.
Yeah.
Kristen could be listening to this and she could be in a completely different mindset. And for all I know, they were vibing and maybe there was more than what I saw. Maybe there was a lot more. Maybe there was some steamy things going on that I just didn't know. But
I think
they did hang out a lot. I know that.
Yeah. I mean, you can trust your own judgment. I think we always knew that like nothing was going on during Twilight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we did a whole 2 episodes on their relationship, so I really hope she doesn't listen to that.
Don't listen to that, please.
Yeah. So.
Because, like, it is kind of, it's odd because we love it, but it is a little disrespectful to be, like, speculating about someone's life that you don't know them, so it's weird.
Yeah.
But I love it, though. You gotta love that, I mean, gosh, because that's the whole story, like, that's, you gotta just believe it, and you gotta believe that it is true, that they did love each other or whatever,
I know.
It's cool. It's fun to think about. How's that?
Well, speaking of gossip and disrespectful, I guess, I had another question, and again, it's super gossipy, so you don't have to answer it, but it's long been speculated that Rob and Nikki Reed were a thing on the set of Twilight. Do you want to, like, confirm or deny?
Mel, do you want to confirm or deny?
Well, I can't. I wish I could either say yes or no. I didn't. That's another thing. I didn't see any relationships.
Yeah.
Like Conjuring between actors. I just didn't see it. But you again, like I hope I'm not like your main source of.
No.
Just because I'm just going from what I'm seeing. There's so much that I'm not seeing. Like, there's so much that happened behind the scenes in terms of, like, once work day is over, it's not like I'm with them every single night. We did hang out, but there could have been. There could have been. I'm going to say, I would say likely not, but there could have been.
Good. Glad I got that question out of the way.
That would be pretty funny if there was, though. It'd be great. It'd be funny, yeah.
Where do you think that rumor even, like, came from? Do you know?
I don't know. I almost feel like a part of it is, like, Nikki's character, like, Rosalie is so, like, threatening and jealous of Bella that, like, it could have been born of
just
that.
Made up.
Just people projecting feelings of the characters. Yeah. I don't know.
Things may have started like right after, the film was done shooting. I mean, gosh, think about all the time. I mean, these guys spent so much time with each other. They did how many films? It's like I was a part of one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
So there could have been a lot of things that I'm not aware of.
Yeah. Okay, again, you really don't have to answer this, but was there any like divas on set or like we went to this Twilight Festival and we heard some things, but
tell me what you heard first, and I'm just curious to see what you.
I feel bad saying it. We heard. I mean, we couldn't.
Did we say this on the show? I don't remember.
I think we did say it. I think we did say it. Some people, yeah. Some people told us that Ashley Greene was not so nice, and that Jackson Rathbone was a bit of a.
Jackson was definitely all over the. Jackson and I actually had a pretty good relationship together. He was a little off the wall though. He was an interesting guy. I guess if you want a little bit of gossip, I think Jacob. If you want to get into somebody, Jacob. I felt like Jacob.
Wait,
he was a little bit of an outcast from my perspective. I think, some parts I did feel bad for him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like he was or having the opportunity to mingle with everybody else. When I did see him, I felt like he was kind of off by himself, and I did kind of feel bad for him at sometimes. But obviously things change. Everybody's learning each other and getting to know each other, and it's hard. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't. It's not. For most people, it's not instant chemistry. So if you think about it, I'm the guy who I'm outgoing. I feel like I'm a pretty social person, so I enjoy kind of getting in and talking to people and stuff. Yeah. So when I look at and I see Jacob, the person who played Jacob, I want him to be a part of the group. And
I could see that because he was like younger.
Yeah,
right?
he was like 15 or something.
Yeah,
16. And also all of his scenes were kind of just like with Bella for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have scenes with. Well, he had one scene with Edward, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So I could see why that would happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's something kind of cool I think you guys would appreciate. So my childhood friends to this day, this guy named Ken, his parents, his dad built the Cullen house. So the famous Cullen house that
built it.
Movies, oh my God!
His house, and it's about 10 minutes away from where I'm sitting, and it's really cool. It's like the house with all the glass windows and everything. I'm sure you guys remember.
Oh. Yeah.
But it's literally right down the street from where I'm sitting right now. It is so cool, and I feel it's really cool to kind of interestingly be really good friends with the person who designed and built that house. I grew up. I went to middle school, high school, college. His name is Kent. And he's a great guy. And there's still people that knock on their door asking to go see the Twilight house.
Oh my gosh. What do they say to them?
I think at this point, at first they would bring him down there because it's that you had to walk down this like trail to get to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain unless you've been there, but Kent's parents' house is up on this hill. Mm-hmm. In order to get to the Twilight house, you have to walk down a little trail, or I suppose you can just take your car and kind of go a different route into the neighborhood. But everybody would go knock on Kent's parents' house, thinking that's the Twilight house. But so the parents would walk them down this trail, be like, "This is the house. Here it is," and it's really cool. It's a beautiful house. It really is.
Wow.
It's beautiful. So I think that's really cool. Cool. Like,
that is.
What do they think about that? It being like, such a well-known house now.
I think they were over the moon when. I mean, you got to keep in mind that when Twilight was being filmed, no one really knew what was going or what Twilight was. So, for them to get asked to have their house featured in this film, like, yeah, they're okay. Like, what is this? Like, of course, obviously it's dramatically blown up since then, and I just think they really enjoyed the attention they got, and yeah, I just think it's pretty cool.
That is so cool. I want to see that house. It's
really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. In fact, if you guys ever come into Portland, I can show you some of the locations that we went and
oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some cool places. Like the baseball scene might be the coolest location that I can remember. It is unbelievable. If you get a chance to go on Google, type in like the Oregon, or just type in the Columbia Gorge, and look at the views at the gorge. It's unbelievable. And the way they set the baseball scene up was, I mean, you couldn't draw it up better. I mean, you're talking about a grass, just like there was nothing there, and they made this into this most spectacular shot. It was so cool. It was so cool. And even at the, gosh, I'm like my memories, it's all coming back to me now. But when I'm just trying to remember, during the baseball scene, they had a shot of, what was it? God, who was coming? I think it may have been Jacob coming in really fast. They did they called it a magic carpet. Essentially, is they had legitimately a 100-foot long carpet that they put chains on the end, and they essentially towed the carpet. So imagine a carpet on dirt, sliding. Someone's pulling the carpet, and someone's walking. So imagine the carpet's moving, but someone's walking while it's moving.
Yeah.
So it looks like the person's going really fast, like a werewolf, or or like some, it's almost like they're running. It's almost like they're running, but they're walking really fast. Very hard to explain. I'm sure I'm butchering this whole story.
No, we get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like we've seen DVD clips.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes of this.
It was actually the baseball scene where I invited my parents to come. I was like,
no
Dad,
way.
I actually called my dad. I'm like, you have got to come down here and see this. Because at the time, he was not happy. He didn't quite know what was going on quite, He's seen me work in other movies, but a featured film like this, a very high budget film, when all the stops, everything is to the T. Anyway, I brought him down, and he walked into this baseball scene when they had all the fog machines and everything was going and in motion. And he looked at me, and he's like, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable!" He was so happy. I can tell right there that his mind changed. That he's like, "You made the right decision."
He forgave you. Yeah.
He forgave me. Yeah.
The right thing. Cool.
I think that's one thing that really sets that first movie apart. Is it seems like they never really use a green screen. It's all just on location, and it's so beautiful. It really
makes a difference.
Yeah, sure. It makes such a difference.
Yeah.
You're right. I never really thought about it like that, but you are right.
Yeah, it's you can just tell that the characters are actually there in real,
Yeah,
even though technology has gotten better, you can still, when it's a green screen, you know what I mean? So
that's true. Yeah.
You can tell when it's cold outside, and I think that's good because it is cold. It should be.
It is cold. I mean, speaking of, one of the reasons why they filmed in Oregon, they wanted they wanted the lighting precise in Oregon, how rainy it is. We wouldn't shoot on a sunny day. I mean, there would be days where it'd be overcast, and we wouldn't turn the cameras on until a big cloud came over the sun and made it get that kind of that eerie, ominous, a cool look, whatever you want to call it. But if you watch the movie, you probably won't find any scenes where it's just a nice sunny day out. It's kind of overcast and just kind of gloomy. So I thought that was interesting. It was a learning experience for me. I didn't quite know at the time, but it's looking back and seeing how they edit it and just the quality of the film. I just thought it was great. It's a pretty amazing job what they did.
It is.
It is. We love the color scheme of that first movie too. All the blue tint to it.
Mm-hmm.
I have kind of a funny question.
Sure.
How often does Twilight cross your mind?
Yeah.
Besides very recently with this whole thing.
Pretty often. It's just the thing is I see a lot of the sites very regularly.
That's true.
Living in Portland, and gosh, like the ballet set that's up the street, where they shot the baseball scene. I drove by it 2 days ago. I'm just like, so it's always in my mind. And yeah, I do. I think about it pretty often.
Cool.
I was thinking about I drove by the school. You remember when Edward stopped the car when Bella, or stopped the van that was coming at her? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I drove by that school. That's right up over the border in Washington. I can't remember the school name. But that was a really fun scene to be a part of. And like what they had to do to make this van look like Robert was stopping it with his hand. I thought that was so cool. Like the time they only had 1 or 2 shots to make that happen. Mm-hmm. And anyway, that was a big scene that I was a part of. So that's another reason why I'm like super stoked about it. But it was cool.
Oh my gosh, you were part of that scene?
I was a part of that scene.
Did you get to do that? Hand thing? Did you do that?
That's right.
We'll have to look at the photos again. Oh my god.
That's really cool.
That's so cool.
That's a huge scene.
Wait, did you ever go up in the trees?
I did. That's some of the stunts that I had to do, is go up in those gosh darn trees.
My god.
Oh my god. Wait, so like when the helicopter or whatever pans around the trees and they're really, really high up there, is that you?
Well, I don't know if I want to break any your hearts. They're not really up in that tree that high.
They're not?
No. That would be cool if they were.
Catherine Hardwick said on the commentary, she's like, yeah, they were up there.
Did they use a helicopter though, or no?
Yeah, they did. They also had drones too. I'm not entirely sure what exactly. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know exactly what they used specifically for that scene.
It's okay. You're not freaking out.
Yeah. Thank you for revealing the truth.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. They were up pretty high, but they weren't they made it so it was almost half the height that they were actually at. They made it look like they're in a full-blown 50-foot tree or something like that.
I mean, that's still really, really high.
It's still pretty high. Don't get me wrong. And it was, think about
scary.
Trying to get both the actors up in this thing, and they have wires.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to slip.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
safety protocols that happen when shooting, just as simple as climbing a tree. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
So did you do that scene?
I did not that specific one, but there was another scene where I had to lean out of a tree.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And that was a little weird. I actually have a video of that. It's the camera quality is so terrible. I don't know if you remember those Razor phones that you'd flip up.
Yeah.
The Motorola Razors. I think it just came out with some new ones. But I was taking videos on that, so the quality's terrible. But yeah, I had to go sit up in one of those trees and bend out, and I was a kissing scene. With Bella. It was pretty cool. But I was just for that particular shot, I was setting up the shot. It was still I don't think of it as a risk. I'm 2 or 3 limbs up in a tree, so if I fell, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But there's a lot of particular shots done in that location. There was 3 different scenes shot, and that's in Clackamas, Oregon. So that'd be another location that if you guys are ever to come, I'd be happy to show you.
Oh my gosh,
we are gonna go actually in September. We're literally planning to go there. So
Great.
We're going back. So in Forks, Washington, every year they have a Twilight festival.
Oh, awesome.
It's on Bella's birthday, the character Bella's birthday.
Cool.
And so many people come from all over the world. Like, the same people come back year after year. So we went last year for the first time, and then we're going back, but we think we'll start in Portland.
Well, definitely let me know. Give me like a warning before you just show up.
Yeah, we're just like, hey, we're here. No, we wouldn't do that. Yeah, that would be really cool. That'd be sick. Because, last time we went to Seattle first, which was cool, but now it's time to go somewhere else. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, I'd love to show you around. I really would. I mean, just right off the bat, there's 4 spots we can go in a 15-minute radius, so
oh my god,
it'd be very simple. You guys would be so excited. I'd be excited to show you. I see all the time, so
we'd be like
cool to show you.
Yeah. I was potentially gonna go on a business trip to Portland, but I was almost stressed about it because there wouldn't have been enough time for me to sneak away and do like all the Twilight things.
Are you going?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, that sucks.
But that would have been stressful.
Yeah. Well, because I've been to Washington a different time, and I never went to Forks or anything, and I was like, oh, how could I go to Washington and not go there?
Yeah.
But then I finally did, so. Yeah.
Forks is so beautiful, though. Gosh.
It's
been a while since I've been up there. I would love to go back. It is so beautiful.
It's crazy. Yeah, the Olympic Peninsula.
Right?
Beautiful.
It's crazy. We have to really go, we need to go for 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Dedicate so much time to just exploring.
Mm-hmm.
You should. I mean, I don't know if you're into nature walks and stuff like that, but I'm telling you, it is. That's the place to go. The Olympic Peninsula, there's a lot of river systems, and I don't want to stray off to our topic, but that's. I'm very passionate about fly fishing for steelhead, and that's one of the biggest areas that I like to go in Washington. So, the OP.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. Yeah, we went to the rainforest and.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I know. Now I want to go back right now.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions? I wanted to ask about after Twilight.
You can ask. Yeah, you can ask. I know we've been. Sorry.
No problem.
Well, so just after Twilight, what happened? Did you go back to school? Did you work on any more movies?
So I did a lot of commercials in terms of filming. I did a lot of stuff for Nike, and those are actually stuff that I was actually in scenes and not little tidbits of cut out stuff. But I so as soon as the Twilight was over, yes, I did a handful of other things, but I did focus mainly on getting my degree, and again, kind of going back to ice hockey, I was really passionate, and I've been passionate about the sport of hockey my whole life, and one of my goals was to make the Division II hockey team, and on the West Coast, it's mainly Division II hockey, and we have a team at the University of Oregon, and eventually I made it, and it was a great experience for me, and thank you. And in terms of now my life, every now and then I get little bits of asking if I want to do an audition. I haven't really been as motivated, and I hate to say that. I just I work full time, and I enjoy what I do, and if an opportunity were to come up, and I know that maybe I'd have a good chance of getting it, then I think it'd be different. I would take that, maybe The Bachelor. I don't know.
I feel like you'd be good at that.
Yeah, try. Do it.
Yeah, my coworkers are trying to get me to apply. I don't know. I think it'd be pretty fun to do it.
Do it.
That'd be so fun.
Or have you seen that show Survivor? That'd be so cool.
Yeah. My family's obsessed with Survivor, actually.
Same with mine.
My sister was trying to get on that.
Yeah.
But then she kind of gave up. Remember?
I would rather do that than
she got close. Yeah.
She got
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. I think maybe she just got kind of scared, or I don't really know what happened.
It's hard. Would you quit your job to go on Survivor, or The Bachelor?
I think with my job I could. I couldn't. Well, I should say I could. I I wouldn't have to quit. I would be able to do it and come back. So,
yeah.
But like the more I'm thinking about like shows and stuff, like have you seen that Discovery show like Naked and Afraid?
Yeah.
I would not do that show. I'm telling you, I would not do it. I just couldn't do the bugs. Oh my god.
Gosh.
I couldn't do that. Not for me. But I would do Survivor. That'd be cool.
I bet you would be, because you do like fishing, wilderness, I bet you'd be pretty good at it. Like,
yeah.
I like to think I could, but I don't know. Put me out in the element like that, who knows what would happen? What would really happen?
Yeah.
Try. Do it.
Maybe it's less like rugged than we think it is, though.
That's what I'm
What about
thinking.
Big Brother?
I mean, those people get pretty... They lose a lot of weight. They look like very different. So I almost think
that's true. Yeah.
Big
But
Brother.
no, I mean, you know, hey, listen, I love opportunities. I would definitely jump on something if anything was presented. Of course, you know, sometimes you got to kind of dig a little bit to make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like Twilight wasn't just, you know, fortunately I had the agent Tony who you know, gave me a shot, but it's not like he just said, here's, you know, you're like, this job's yours. Like I had to multiple auditions of getting up, you know, 4 a.m. You know, I'll never forget. Here's a funny story. I'm in my dorm. I have a roommate, and these are little tiny college dorms, and we have like a little like refrigerator. We happen to have like a little stove and oven. A lot of dorms don't have them.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget. I woke up and I opened my door, this little tiny dorm room, and I opened my door, and the whole house, the little dorm room, because I had a roommate, his name was Phil, and the whole house was completely cut like smoke. I thought there was a fire in our dorm. I was so scared. I got up at 4 a.m. because I was going to go do a Twilight audition. And I ran out of the room and I'm like, what is going on? And I opened, I realized, I was like, okay, this is not right. Like I couldn't breathe. There was so much fire. I thought that was on fire. And I go into the kitchen and Phil had put a pizza in the oven and went and fell asleep.
Someone always does that in
school. And you should see it looked like a hockey puck in the oven. It was hilarious. I mean, it's funny to think about it now, but it was like I was not happy at the time. I was, because you ever get like smoke in your house? You can kind of, it just smells like it just sticks on everything, and I smelt that smell for like weeks. Anyway, it was terrible. But I still tell Phil, I still give it to him a little bit. Like, hey, remember that pizza incident?
You guys are lucky that didn't turn into.
I know.
And then you couldn't go to your audition.
Whoa.
Yeah, I remember like having to take a shower, and the house was so full of smoke that I'm like, the lower I got to the ground, like the more oxygen I can breathe. That's how bad it was. It was really bad.
I feel like college students always do that because they don't know what they're doing.
Here's Phil. I walk into Phil's room, and he has his light on. He has all his clothes on. His shoes are on, and he's laying face down on his bed with his feet dangling off the bed.
Oh.
And he's asleep. Anyway, I don't know why I'm getting into this story, but I think it was 5 auditions before I actually got the part, and so me not really sure if I'm going to college or what I'm doing. It was a couple weeks in before I made that decision. I'm gonna drop classes and I'm gonna spend the next 5 months kind of living back in Portland. So it was an interesting transition, but I'm really happy I did it. And I would do it. I would have done it for free. I tell myself this all the time. I would have done it for free.
I would have paid to do it.
It was great.
Oh my god. I was wondering, did you get to go to the premiere?
I went. No, in LA, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, but we did have a premiere in Oregon that I did go to.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
But no, I didn't go there. I wish I would have. I mean, for people, like, how many people worked on set? There was hundreds.
Yeah,
so it would have been tough for all those people to go, and a goof like me, I'm probably the last on the list.
Oh, our friend wanted to ask you how the catering was.
Oh yeah,
on set.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Really?
Comparing it to other films I've worked on, night and day. Anything, any snacks, drinks, like anything I want to eat, anytime I want to eat or drink, it's like walk into the food cart and there it is. It's like everything is so like it's like gourmet food. It's just unbelievable. It's cool.
That is so cool. Wow.
It's cool. So, I bet that made a difference.
It did. I remember, it's amazing, like, the red carpet that's kind of laid out for you, like, transitioning from Twilight to other, like, kind of lower budget films, like, you kind of have this sense in your head, like, it should be the same when it's, like, Twilight was a kind of a once in a lifetime, at least right now in my life, it was. Yeah. So I like little things that you'd think other people would do, they don't. And it's kind of hard to, I guess one example is like wardrobe, for example, like, in Twilight, they did everything. Like they would put your jackets on, they do everything for you. So you kind of like, when you did wardrobe for other films, like, you kind of like, oh, you want me to do this? Like, I feel like it's like kind of an ass for saying that, but it's true. It's true. Fun. Almost kind of like a spoiled mentality almost, but it's just, it was a great experience.
Wow. I never really thought of it like that, but
yeah. Especially I feel like that first movie, the way the stars like always talk about it, it was so much smaller in comparison to the other movies that came after it, but it was still such a big movie, like.
It was, yeah.
Back then, or even still now, like, would people actually say, like, oh, you look like Rob, or did you do...
At the premieres, people did. No, I wish it would be cool if people said that now. Now that I have, like, a little scruff going on, I don't know.
I think you do actually look like Rob.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take that as a compliment. I don't know if you saw what made the news today, but that's
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Did you see he was named like the hottest man in the world according to math or science?
I agree, but I'm kind of surprised.
Well, what took them so long?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of, why wouldn't they have said that like 10 years ago? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he still is gorgeous, but. Not to be weird, but very random news. Maybe because Batman, people are like getting excited again.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, how could you like turn down like a guy like Bradley Pitt though? They're like other like.
You know what I learned today? This is so random.
What?
That a baby geese is a gosling.
Oh. That's so
Ryan
interesting.
Gosling's name is like baby geese.
Oh, hello.
Just speaking of men.
Yeah, why isn't he should be the sexiest man alive.
He is. He's very good looking.
Yeah, he is good looking.
Rob, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I don't know. What do you got? Anything else?
I don't think I have anything else. I
guess it's been
like.
My mom always says our episodes are too long anyway.
Well, I enjoy it, so. But no, I thought it was great. I'm really happy that, you guys reached out and wanted to chat. I enjoyed the conversation, and I hope your fans will appreciate it. I know that I'm not like the most entertaining person, but I tried, and if you have any questions that you want to ask me again, I'd be more than happy to talk to you. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, we might get like a whole avalanche of questions after this episode from our listeners, but they're going to love this so much.
Oh, that's great.
We haven't had too many guests on the show before, so this is so new to us.
Yeah, don't put yourself down.
Yeah, this is honestly huge for us. Like,
well, I'm happy.
No idea.
You better post that video that I sent. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we're going to. I think we're going to wait for this episode.
Okay. Yeah.
But I've already sent it to like all my friends.
No.
I know, I'm so nervous.
We need to make sure they're trustworthy.
I know.
Well, I'm happy I'll just say I'm happy Kristen did that. That was very kind of her. So Kristen, if you're listening, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I know you don't want to bug her, but will you tell her that we say thank you so much?
Trust me, I've said it 6 times already.
Okay, cool. I just want to express our
I know. I actually felt bad. I was like, God, I just feel like I was bugging her. But
that's so nice.
I just, she went along with it from this, like the first time I texted her, I was like, you have got to check this out. These girls are, they love you and they love the Twilight series. And she thought it was so cool. I mean, her response and the way she was talking to me, she was just like almost in shock. I couldn't believe really? How much she went along with this, and she was so down to be involved in any way she could. And so I'm just happy that she went with it. It actually means a lot to me.
God,
Preston, you're gonna give us a heart attack.
Do you know what she's filming right now?
She's filming a rom-com.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. She is. I didn't want to ask her. I don't know. I hate
yeah, it's a
Christmas one.
Yeah, it's a Christmas one, and it's like a lesbian romantic comedy.
Called
cool. Happiest Season.
Cool.
Yeah.
My battery is about to die.
Okay.
Or my iPad, I should say.
Well, we're wrapping up anyway, but thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah, no problem. It was nice meeting with you guys, and hope you have a wonderful evening. I know it's getting probably pretty late over there for you.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
For everything.
Yes. Oh. And we hope we can meet in Portland.
Yes.
We're definitely going there.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Have a wonderful evening.
Bye. You too. Bye.
Bye. And we're back. It's after the interview. How do you feel, Mel?
I just blacked out there for a second. I didn't have anything to say. It was so much fun talking to Preston.
Yeah.
He's such a nice guy.
He's so nice. So real. So I was saying to Mel, because yes, we did talk to each other in between the interview and recording this little outro, that he was just really humble about it and like kind of putting himself down, which I was like, stop it.
Yeah.
But also seemed genuinely so proud to be part of it. And that was really fun to talk to someone that
I know
really wanted to talk to us,
I made some stupid comment where I was like, we like most of the other movies. And he's like, I love all of the other movies. I'm like, oh, no, I do too. I'm not shitting on them. But like, it was more to be like that first movie.
Yeah, we're trying to pump him up.
Yeah.
Well, we're not even lying. Like, the first movie is our favorite, so.
Yeah. I mean, even the things he talked about, like being in the tree and leaning, like for that shot, I have time and time again said that is my favorite shot of the whole series, because even when I saw it in theaters for the first time, I always imagined that shot, like 50, 60, 70 years from now, will be the shot that they show when people are talking about Twilight.
It's really beautiful, that shot. I wish I still did, but I used to have it on my wall.
Yeah. Well, it really sets them apart. It's like this guy's a vampire. Like, having him up there in the tree like that. And it's so uniquely Twilight.
It is. Ugh. Wasn't that so cool?
Oh my gosh.
That's all I can say.
The cutest part was when he was like, had a crush on Kristen.
I know.
Like, didn't she have like a boyfriend on set? And he was like, oh, I didn't know that. But who wouldn't have a crush on Kristen?
I'm going to try to put a video version on our YouTube, but I don't know if that will be too hard, so.
I just watched a clip. Unfortunately, I'm cut out of it. But that's okay, because I didn't prepare my appearance anyway.
Completely cut out?
My face is not in it at all, just my shoulder.
Does that mean he didn't see what you looked like?
No, he did, but when you put it side by side, it crops me out. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, that's so awkward.
Yeah.
You only really met one of them. The other one is just...
If you put a video online, our listeners will probably think that. Like, who's the other girl?
Oh my god. I think we should meet him when we go to Portland. Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he's so nice. Like, he doesn't have to...
Yeah.
And he even said beforehand, like, we asked what his availability was and how much time he had to talk to us, and he said, I'm free. Like, you just go as long as you want.
Like, oh, cool, us too.
Yeah. Yeah. I was honestly...
my only plans today.
I was really nervous.
Well, I mean, I have work too.
Yeah. I was really nervous for it. Wait,
Yeah.
What is his day job? Did he say?
Is it hockey?
Oh, maybe. It could be. I mean, that's like one thing about him too, is he's so versatile. Like, his grandfather was this NHL player. He plays hockey, ice fishing.
Yeah.
An actor, stunt skateboarding.
Has a lot of interests.
Yeah. College student.
Yeah.
Former college student.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
There might be some interest we don't even know about.
Yeah, probably.
Reminds me of when Alex Mraz was a painter.
And we're like, no, it has to be painting houses.
I was painting in Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh shit, he was.
Ugh, I wish we talked about that with him. Yeah. I felt a little bad going there with like the Nikki Reed question and stuff, but he was.
He said
he was
ask
yeah
anything.
he was happy to talk about it.
At least we weren't as bitchy as that other.
Oh gosh,
interview
horrible.
lady.
Yeah. I mean, we honestly have so much respect for anyone who's in the series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there one person that we don't have respect for?
That's a funny question. Anyone we don't have respect for? Whoever okayed the wolf scene, but that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's hard for me to even speak because that was so fun.
Where do we even go from here?
He kind of reminded me of Charlie a bit with his interests.
Yeah,
I feel like
really Pacific Northwest.
He's the kind of guy that Charlie would just love for Bella to take home.
Yeah, true. I liked how, Preston, if you're listening, it's kind of weird that we're just like talking about you right now, and I acknowledge that that's weird. But
Yeah.
I like how we kept saying, "Oh gosh."
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
No, I didn't notice
He kept
that.
saying "gosh."
Yeah.
I really liked that.
I like when we were like, you kind of look like Rob. And then we were like, did you see who just voted the hottest man in the world? He does actually really look like Rob. And he kept putting himself down, too, and being like, I'm just some guy. Like, actually, he is really cute.
He must have nice parents.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. And his parents really, he's like Eric Odom in a way. Like, his parents clearly did such a good job raising him.
Yeah, Eric Odom, I forgot about that we were like, who are your parents? You raised a good kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, and just that story of like, he went to college and then just left it for Twilight, and then his dad came to set and was like happy.
Yeah.
Like,
So cool.
disappointment was over.
Made me really, I already did want to, but made me really want to get into film listening to him talk about that. I was like, oh shoot, movie sets, that's where it's at.
I know. And just the college aspect of it, like partying with everybody and people showing up hungover.
Partying.
I mean, I loved college so much.
I love partying.
But that's just in a like janky dorm room. Like, imagine doing that on a movie set, like,
I know.
and hanging out with everyone.
Hotel rooms.
Yeah, I know it's work too, but that's like,
You must have been so fun.
that's an experience of a lifetime.
When you're all kind of just trapped together, in a way.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And making something that like you really are proud of.
I have a random thing to say that I just need to say because I've been meaning to say it for like several weeks and has nothing to do with this, but it's about Twilight. It's just about just that thing that Alex pointed out to me, my coworker.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he's listening, but that it's about, speaking of the baseball scene, which we talked about a lot. It's just, isn't it interesting how baseball was a big deal in Twilight, book and movie, and then it's never brought up again.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Kelly and I were talking about this the other day, and we think they should have played baseball in Breaking Dawn.
Yeah.
When Bella's a vampire. How cool would that have been? Like, even, like, more than the arm wrestle scene.
Wouldn't that have been cool? It's just so weird. Like, it seems like the Cullens love baseball, and then
they should have brought it back, for that consistency as well. What if they played football or something else? They had like an epic football scene.
I feel like, in a way, baseball's the best sport for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like almost no limits with how far you can hit a ball.
Yeah.
Whereas everything else is kind of contained. Because I was just thinking in my head, like, tennis, like, oh no, you got to keep it in the court. Or like basketball, like, what can you really do? I mean, I guess you could jump high and then dunk it, but...
Well, what do they count as a home run in vampire baseball? There's no, like...
I think it's just like getting to...
As long
home.
as you...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Stephanie, genius. She knew.
I know.
That was the best sport for vampires, to show off their abilities. Besides, like, maybe cross-country running, but that's not that fun.
Boring.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other sports.
You know, everything else has to,
everything
like, stay.
is contained.
Like, if they did soccer, maybe it's, like, kind of cool that you can kick it across the whole field and it gets in the goal, but...
Yeah,
not that cool.
Basketball, like, you probably just would break the net.
Yeah, and football, like, I don't really know what that would be like.
Yeah. American football.
Yeah, true. I feel like we're forgetting one. Oh, hockey.
Yeah. Again, then you have to keep it in the rink.
Yeah.
I also can't see them, like... Well, I guess there's, like, ponds and stuff they could play it on. I was going to say, I can't see them, like, renting out a local rink. Yeah. And they're like, hey, this is the Colin hours.
That would be cool, actually, if they played it on, like, a huge lake in, like, Canada.
Yeah, but don't you think they would break the ice?
Maybe. Wait, why? Oh, if they, like, bump
They're
into
too
each
strong,
other.
yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I guess they could play hockey across, like, an entire lake.
Yeah,
like
but I feel like they would just their like strength would break the ice really quickly.
I never thought about this.
Yeah.
You know, there's always things to talk about for Twilight.
There's an unlimited amount of topics, and yeah, that's why, like, when you were talking about Kristen Stewart, or it was like she was kind of shocked that people were still doing this like all these years later. Like, that's the testament to Twilight, is that it lives on forever and ever. People all the time, especially when we were starting this podcast, were like, won't you run out of things to say? And
one of the top things people say.
Yeah. And actually, no, like, we're not even close yet.
We still haven't done so much.
I mean, there could come a time when we're like, okay, we've covered everything, but I don't feel close to that at all right now.
Me neither. If that day ever did come, we'll make another podcast.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys like it, but that's a distant future that we don't even know. So.
Yeah, we are still very much obsessed.
Yeah.
And
constantly
coming up with more things. And
I mean, we could try to meet, like, everybody.
Yeah. And also, one thing I wanted to say is, I think you said something like, oh, like, we're, like, I might get backlash for saying this, like, the Twilight fans or anything. And I feel like there are so many Twilight fans that probably, like, attacked Kristen, attacked Rob.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially when they, like, dated other people, or, you know, there's been people who have been disrespectful. But in our experience with this community, everybody is so nice.
Yeah.
All the time.
It appears that Cloudy Forks...
Yeah, Cloudy Forks, are you still listening? Because we can't find you on Instagram anymore.
Maybe they changed their username.
They probably changed their username, but they shouldn't have. Because it was such a good username. It's Cloudy Forks. Maybe I wasn't spelling it correctly. Maybe there was, like, a different...
Like a hyphen?
Hyphen. No, I don't think there was.
Mel sent me... she was at work, and she sent me a screenshot of her searching for Cloudy Forks.
I couldn't find them. Cloudy Forks, if you are out there, please get in contact with us and just let us know that you are...
Are you okay?
Okay, where are you? It wasn't someone who we interacted with every day, but it was a familiar face. It was a familiar account, which we really loved. I hope you are still in the Twilight community. I hope if you're not, it's okay, but please let us know. And, like, we're not making fun of you or anything. Like,
no.
We love that handle so much. Where are you? Guys, please give a girl a warning.
It honestly should be like a band name or something.
I know.
Cloudy Forks. And I bet a lot of people wouldn't even know what that means. They're like, Cloudy Forks.
No, maybe they just, like, were done with Instagram or something.
Yeah,
but
good for you.
Good for you. I wish I could be. But if you are listening, please.
I just wanted to update on
that
saga.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we'll have news. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been quite long.
Quite long.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know what you thought of this. And stay cool.
Stay cool. Keep being you. We love you so much.
And let Kristen know that, if you feel like it, let her know that you loved her feature on Another Bite of Twilight.
Yeah. And oh yeah, we asked Preston. I don't think we recorded it, how he found out about us, and he said someone just sent him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we always said that that's how Kristen would find out about us, if someone would just send her the link.
And it happened.
It happened. So please, someone just send Rob the link.
So please.
Someone said,
I want to talk to Michael Welch.
Michael Welch is the guest that, like, we really, really want.
I really want Catherine Hardwicke, obviously, but that's like dream. That's...
Mm-hmm.
Or imagine Stephanie. That's the top, I mean.
Oh, gosh. Stephanie.
Literally anybody. And I think the whole thing is so interesting, like, talking to a cameraman or just anybody.
Anybody.
Like, it's really cool.
Craft services.
Yeah.
Casting agency.
Yeah.
Like.
So much goes into it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many jobs
mm-hmm.
in movies.
I've thought before, I mean, I love writing and stuff, but I've thought, like, should I just get a random job on, like, a movie set? Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to go to school for screenwriting. Mm-hmm. I went to Emerson College, which is a film school. I know we were just about wrapping up, but I decided not to last minute because I was so afraid of that, like applying for jobs and getting jobs and also never really having like one concrete job. Like you're always kind of your own boss, your own freelancer, and you're always having to sell yourself. And I just thought last minute like I couldn't do it. But
I didn't do it either.
Yeah, a part of me regrets it though.
I get told all the time by people, it's not too late.
Me too. It feels a little bit too late.
I know.
But who knows? We're in our 20s still.
True. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have an amazing day or night.
And
love you.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.
You can contact us at anotherbiteoftwilight@gmail.com or find us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at anotherbiteoftwilight. Theme music is by Traces. See you next time.